Hey everyone, I'm Rages.
And I'm Table Flip, and today we're going to bring you guys a video on Corporal Beast, which is being worked on with mod Alfred and mod Reach currently to be pulled to be brought into old school. So Corporal Beast is a very powerful boss that was from
2008.
2008, alright, and a lot of you guys probably remember doing it with a huge team because it was quite challenging. Now, the main drops that are brought into the game from Corporal Beast back in 2000, like when it was introduced on the main servers, was the Divine Shield, the Elation Shield, the Spectral Shield, and the Arcane Shield. Now these shields had a high prayer bonus and quite nice defense, but if you guys remember, each shield had its own little special niche, and so Divine, it would block about 30% of damage at a reduction of your prayer. Elation, it had a 25% chance of doing that with no reduction of prayer. And Spectral, it had the same stats as the Divine and Elation, but it also had a 30 plus magic attack bonus. I said that wrong. That was Arcane, I believe.
Arcane, yeah.
Sorry. And the Spectral had a 30 plus magic defense. My bad.
Those two were considerably less powerful than the Divine and Elation.
But they were still very, very good. Like, they weren't OP, they were just good. It was just like a different shield than DFS pretty much.
They were both best in slots. They didn't exactly devalue the DFS, but they covered things that the DFS previously did not. And they also almost rivaled its defense, especially in magic defense where the Spectral actually beat it.
So now these shields are some of them are overpowered. Like the Divine and the Elation are definitely considered overpowered by a lot of you guys. I'm not too much against them, but I know the greater portion of the community is quite against them. So I think the Spectral and Arcane shields are good enough and to be used in the game, but not too overpowered to devalue many items in the game. So I think those would be good for 07, I'm saying. But 2 shields doesn't seem like it's enough for a massive boss like that, so we have some other ideas for shields.
And it doesn't seem like just if we took out the Divine and Elation, that was mainly the only reason people killed Corp, and people would actually be disappointed with the Arcane and the Spectral. So we want a reason to actually make people kill it because it was a very resource-intensive boss, and killing it was often like 100k plus per kill in supplies. So we do want drops that are actually warrant killing the boss.
So we're going to start out with a way to introduce Corp, and then we're going to talk about some possible drops. And yeah, so the first thing is it can be introduced in a many number of ways. So one of the ways would be at the end of the newest Grandmaster quest that's being worked on or is going to be worked on. And this quest still has very it's like a very gray quest. Nobody knows exactly what's going on in it, and its
requirements are unknown. It could even, we've heard mod Reach suggest that it might even require all previous quests, so 246 quest points just to start it. That would make it the Corporal Beast very exclusive, so I doubt that'll be the case.
And then there's the idea of bringing it in with the new continent, and then there's also just bringing it back in that Wildy Cave, which it used to be in.
The problem with that is the Corp originally was introduced with the Summer End quest, and so it did have some decent requirements to beat those 2 quests, or it might have been 3, and actually unlock the ability to slay the Corporal Beast. This made it still somewhat exclusive, and I believe that the Corporal Beast should still be somewhat exclusive, that not all people should be able to just go there and just mass it in huge groups, because that kind of takes away from some of the, the prestige of being able to kill it and get its drops.
And if it isn't exclusive, it definitely devalues the reason to go there. So there are a number of ways you can introduce this boss, but now we're going to go on to its possible drops. So we already said before that the Spectral and Arcane shields seem good enough and but not overpowered enough to be brought into 07. But now we have some different shields in mind if you guys would like to keep on the same topic of shields, and these ones would be it would be a shield that's much like the Arcane shield, but it would be for a range shield.
So it'd be, instead of the 30 plus magic bonus in magic, it'd be in range. if you guys do remember, the defensive bonuses on these shields was about 50 to 70 in each slot. I think they were best in crush. They were the weakest in range, which was because of the DFS has a high range and they didn't want to devalue the DFS. And I think that's how it should stay. So they did almost rival the DFS's defensive bonuses, but the DFS was still technically the best in slot shield, not if you didn't count the Divine and the Elation shield.
Okay. And then we have another idea for a shield. It would just be a much more generic shield. It would be just the defensive bonuses and a 10+ prayer, or some high number of prayer.
It would not be overpowered by any means, but it would definitely be very useful at some bosses, especially things like Dagonoth Kings, where you need a lot of prayer. Maybe some of the wilderness bosses like Vidiion. I could see it being useful, and I could see it being powerful, and having a demand, but not like so overpowered to the point where if you don't have
shield.
However, we don't need it to be just like it was pre-EOC. We can focus on a different type of drop. The two things that come to mind for me are either actually there's three, and we're gonna go over all these. Brad, you'll cover the glove slot later.
Okay.
Then helmets, and then weapons. Everyone loves new weapons. I don't think, or not everyone, but. And then the thing with weapons also is whether or not they should be new weapons or attachments to pre-existing weapons. So we're going to cover a few ideas we had in each of these. I just wanted to start off with helms, and this is really open, but if you think about it, besides Barrow's helms and the helm of Nezinot,
whatever.
I don't know how to pronounce it.
Just call it Nezi.
We're going to call it the Nezi helm.
Yeah.
There aren't really any in-game helms besides the Barrow's helms. So I think I would like to see a few cool new helms maybe, and I'd be really open to hear what you guys think about maybe cool helms with some weird ability that we hadn't seen before. It doesn't have to be overpowered, but probably useful or cool. I think so. I'll cover weapons quickly, and then you can talk about glove ideas.
All right.
So for weapons, there's a few weapons that are like been talked a lot and got a lot of support on the forums and just never really made it into the game. I don't think this is the place to bring in PvP weapons though, like Vesta Longsword. I just don't think this is the place. I think this is a place to maybe introduce. It doesn't have to be as main drop, but perhaps one new dragon weapon. Probably the one I believe would be sought after. I don't think this is the place to bring in claws. I don't know if claws are wanted in this game yet. But the Dragon Warhammer would be amazing to bring in through the Corporal Beast, and here's my explanation. The Dragon Warhammer, although it doesn't have a confirmed spec, it would make a ton of sense to make it copy the Statius Warhammer effect from pre-EOC, which had a percentage-based drain to the defense and, I believe, strength and attack of the target. So it would basically be a non-degradable, weaker Statius Warhammer, and people loved the Statius Warhammer for its main reason people loved it was for Corp, because it was the most effective spec weapon to use in Corp. So if it dropped a cool weapon to make killing it easier, I think that'd be cool, and it would make it really sought after.
And also, it doesn't even make it easier. We already have a defense lowering weapon with the BGS spec.
The BGS, it's just a different one.
Yeah, it's just another weapon to use, and it would be.
And everyone loves new dragon weapons, and there aren't that many great crush weapons at this current moment in time.
I mean, we got the barrel chest anchor, we got the Hosta, but it's not even best to use it with crush. It's best to use it with stab. And then we got the God Sword. So none of those, besides the barrel chest anchor, are meant to be used for crush. So we need a specifically made for crush weapon, and I think that would be a great weapon to bring into the game.
So one other weapon I was thinking about would be a range one. I feel like we could bring in the Corporal Beast dropped 2k cannonballs, if you guys remember. So it has some affinity to cannons, and just throwing it out there, but the hand cannon. I think a lot of Rangers miss this weapon. It was a very powerful one, and it doesn't need to be the exact way it was pre-EOC, but I think Rangers need some like big hitting weapon that isn't a crossbow. And then it'll actually, for people who hate the dark bow, this will give someone an incentive not to just rush with the dark bow. So I think overall it'd have a great benefit on PvP.
The cannon, if you guys don't remember, it was not liked by a lot of people because it had a glitch at the very beginning of introduction where you could stack 3 hits. Well, and now people know, like the people who can code now know how to avoid that.
And there's also the other glitch where it ignored whether or not you were in single or multi-combat, and you could actually just attack.
Well, no, it's because they had a stall, so they weren't knowing you were being attacked. And that was fixed as well, so we know how to fix those now, and those wouldn't be brought into the game with the hand cannon.
So the last thing we want to talk about now was the glove slot, and we do not want to devalue Barrow's gloves at all, and this is actually going to increase the prestige of Barrow's gloves.
So, as you guys know, Barrow's gloves are pretty much best gloves in the game. If you don't have Barrow's gloves, you are like wearing your combat bracelet and just repping that, man. But you can do that if you want. But Barrow's gloves have been the best in slot for gloves in like forever, and until the Goliaths, and we aren't suggesting to bring those in. Don't worry. Now, if you ever look at the stats on the Barrow's gloves, they're hybrid gloves. They're best in slot for every single thing, and
that doesn't actually make sense.
It doesn't add up. Why should something that can let you use it for every single type be the best? So we thought instead of dropping seagulls to add to shields, you could add a seagull to your Barrow's gloves to make them melee based, which would reduce the
so they would become
it would reduce the magic and range attack and raise the attack of the melee stats to 13 in all, I believe, is what we were saying. But the number can be determined later. And then there would be one to do the same for magic, which would reduce the melee and the range. And then one for range, of course, to reduce the magic and the melee. Now, the reason we thought about this was we need something to make like magic gloves. Like, we don't really have magic gloves currently. And then also we need a better reason really to get that many quests. But I don't know. It's just something I thought would be needed in the game.
So yeah, to throw a few more of my ideas out there, like if you notice with any other item, there's usually trade-offs. Like even with the Fury, you're giving up the best possible strength bonus for that attack and defense bonus because the strength amulet is better. No thing should ever be the best in every single way. Like for instance, the God Sword has the highest strength, but it is not. It's like one of the slowest weapons in the game. So there should be trade-offs, and we're thinking making a trade-off on these Barrow's gloves so you can make them even more powerful in one area and then reduce its effectiveness in the others. So it would make a trade-off, and it would like justify making them more powerful. And I believe that if it's getting dropped by Corp, these seagulls that you would attach, I don't know how rare they should be. I think it'd be justifiable to give a percentage increase in damage to range and magic from these gloves, perhaps like 5%. This shouldn't be scary because you can't actually use these in conjunction with Void. So it would just be a 5% damage increase, which for magic that usually means 1 damage, and for range that means 1 to 2 damage. And with strength, we can just keep it a higher strength bonus, perhaps raising it from 12 to 15 to get a 1 extra max hit. So
those are our ideas, guys, and this has been a long video. Thank you for watching this and staying with us. So this is going to be the end of it, and see you guys later.
Yeah, make sure to leave comments of what you think should be added, how you think Corp should be added. Is it a good time to add Corp? Just tell us all your thoughts. And I think we're almost at 500 subscribers, so make sure to leave a comment and subscribe. And have a great day, everyone.
Bye.